too, because of course they're going into the game now with actually having competition, and you know they actually, like you say, they've improved a hell of a lot, and they are looking very strong. So
the competition is going to be unbelievably rough here on Badlands, ladies and gentlemen. The game has started. Zaibatsu here, week number 6 of ETF2L Season 15, powered by Blackout Gaming, up against the title defenders of multiple seasons, a year undefeated online, going live here on the first middle of Badlands, as they're going to make their way through. Right now, the frags so far equal. Both roamers have gone down. Tweak's going to be the first blood, though, apart from the roamers. And Epsilon immediately shooting their way forwards. I like the counterplayer from Zaibatsu. It is a 3 versus 3, but the health definitely in favor of Epsilon here, Spin.
yeah, it's a fantastic aggressive play from Epsilon onto the choke, but Zaibatsu reacted perfectly, and 2 Knots escaped with a fantastic strafe, and actually Knots going down now on the flank to Samsey. So it's looking like they're mid here. If they can get their spawners in time, 2 Knots has managed to stay up, and I think they can refight this once they get the Uber. They're not far from it now, so they will be looking to push mid straight away, and I think Epsilon will be sending bets forward to try and force this Uber without having to lose the midpoint.
Yeah, very good play there from the old Crack Clan members coming out on Zaibatsu. Ips and his medic make their way up, and it looks like they're going to play it safe until Brego makes his way through, and as the German superstar Demoman makes his way in, looks like they're going to be able to make their push through that choke area. Again, Epsilon, very clear, has a task. Make sure we force their Uber as they come in. Defending is going to be rough. It's an Uber versus a no Uber. They're going to come from Valley. What do you think about this, Spin? It's being spammed early, actually.
It's not something I see teams do a whole lot. We started doing it quite recently, and it was very effective. So I think like maybe they've seen the. I don't know if they were doing it before that, but they've also recognised their sort of effectiveness of it. And Numlock's actually getting the frag here, which was probably going to be able to cue the block. No, not the block, but the recap for sure from Epsilon. I think they're definitely going to try and contest this. And Soldier of T-Mac now bombing onto the Scout choke, and he's actually going behind for a backup just to draw everyone back. And Shocky doing huge work, takes down Brego and T-Mac in that fight, and that's just gonna win the mid for them and probably the Spire. So
yeah, they don't even have to use Uber yet. This could be a round, like, and this is what we see time after time after time. Doesn't matter which team they're playing, but Epsilon does this where they immediately, as they get a pick, they shift it so fast from defense to offense, and they shoot it in there, and really, they're going to be on last here, no problem whatsoever. 65% of the 2 Knots. I think Zaibatsu's going to have a very tough time holding this. Look at how aggressive Epsilon is. They're going to make their way in. Soldier comes in, gets air blasted away, and this seems to be one of the strategies that Zaibatsu has developed right now. Okay, let's just make sure this one happens. 2 Knots on 4 HP is going to stay alive for the time being. 2 picks from Ips are going to be absolutely crucial, but 2 Knots, you got to get some sort of Uber Soul done, or else it's not going to work. Here we go, Numlocked and Nox going up against 2 Knots, and it looks like the Swedish medic is going to try and get the Uber, but in all honesty, it's not going to matter as he gets bottled an Uber Soul to the floor, and Epsilon picking up that 1-0 lead here on Badlands. Very, very good round from them, showing both their vulnerability, but also the aggressiveness they can pick up within seconds of being behind.
Yeah, it's just scouts, the work from the scouts there. It's just every player in Epsilon is just so individually talented that it takes so much to focus one player down that the rest of the team can just destroy you, and that's what you saw with Shocky. He took 2 players down as they were trying to be focused, and it just ended up with a roll all the way to the last. And T-Mac actually going down very early in this mid fight, and I think that's just going to mean that Zaibatsu just back off. Yeah, they're not going to commit too hard to this at all. They've realised that they've got the disadvantage early on, and they're not going to commit. So Numlocked already trying to do a little bit of damage through the choke point. Brego again getting caught out a little bit. He's 3 HP, and he gets taken down by a spam rocket from Mike. Mike does get taken down in response, but you know, Tweak going down as well. So Brego again just overextending a little bit. It's not something I'm used to seeing from Zaibatsu. Brego's normally very calculated with his plays, and as twice I've seen him make a little bit of a mistake that could cost a round here.
Yeah, very clear play coming out from Epsilon. They know who to focus. They knew who's out of position. And again, right now, you see 2 Knots already backing out. He's saying, guys, I cannot help you. And Ips and T-Mac are both going to go down. Gear gets taken down in the process, but really 2 soldiers for 1. Epsilon going to do what they do best, and I can promise you they're going to make their way here into last. They're not going to care about any sort of Uber advantage. They're going to put the pressure down. The hammer comes down, and Tvik is the first sacrifice.
Yeah, Tweak going down early, but then 2 players from Bash and Mike from Epsilon going down as well, and they're just going to stack the point, and they've got so much cap time now that Zaibatsu are just hugely on the back foot. They have got the frags, so they don't need to worry too much, but it's just going to mean that the repush is going to be much stronger from Epsilon now. I wouldn't mind going to the team comms now from Zaibatsu to see what kind of pressure they're under. Obviously, they're going to be feeling the stress, I imagine.
I was just about to say, let's have a listen, shall we?
Please! Into Condor this week, 3-sub.
We are out of now.
I'm walking mid.
Get out, Tor. We
check
have
one
to get back.
Something was lobby.
We have 75.
Nice.
We have it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They have half of the point and you didn't have the momentum.
We have it.
It looks like they make a very clear decision there, Spin, to actually just back out of that one. I like it. They're not away off the crit streak though.
Yeah, just playing it careful, not too aggressive. You know, they know they lost their advantage that they had on the decision to push out, and they decided to just cancel that, and just back off. And they didn't lose too much on it. So it's Uber versus crit streak now, and yeah, Tweak is actually taking the spy to see if he can get something done on I guess on the bottom lobby as they push in. But the crits is going to come out before that happens, I imagine. And actually, no, they're not going to crit from mid as from main as I expected.
Yeah, they are.
They're just going to rotate. Oh, they are.
Here they come. Here they come. Crit sticky comes out again. 2nuts' trigger finger is perfectly valid at least today, and Epsilon and the rest is just going to back out of here to Stonebridge. And this is what you do, ladies and gentlemen. You have crits, you force the Uber, you back out, and you build like mad, and you have about a 5 to 10 second window to at least work with this one, as they're going to make their way. Look at that, the scout building like mad. You can see the percentage already coming out. 2nuts on 25, and Locks already on 50. They're going madly fast. And Epsilon eSports is going to make their way into, with crits. And Zaibatsu saying, you know what, screw this thing. If we're going to try and defend, we're going to die. Let's push instead.
Yeah, it's a smart play from them. They've got 3 frags very, very early, both soldiers and the demo, so there's not going to be a huge amount they can actually crit here with. I mean, obviously they can, as they've shown before, you use the crit streak on the scout, but with this many players up for Zaibatsu, it's not going to be as effective. And Nox is just going to opt to back out and conserve it, make sure he has it for the next push. And in fact, 2nuts still nowhere near his Uber, so once the spawns come in, they're just going to be able to use his crit streak anyway, almost as if they would have on last point, and possibly even roll this to last if it goes well.
It looks like they're going to be sitting all the way back. I don't think Epsilon has a clear read on how much Uber they have to get the crit sticky in onto the Defeat. That Uber's going to be able to get build off though. Epsilon, if they kill one more player, they're done. This point is over. But at the moment though, it seems relatively even. 5 versus 6, Uber versus no Uber. They need to kill a couple of Epsilon players though. A couple of them need to go down. But so far the Reds are perfectly fine. They're going to be able to just not lose a single player here. And I would not be surprised to see Epsilon eSports in the red just making their way through and seeing if they can get a couple of blue bodies onto that floor.
Yeah, it's just very calm, careful play from Epsilon. They pushed forward, did what they needed to do, forced the Uber, and then just backed off, like you say, without losing a single player. And Brago just getting caught too long in that choke point, and another soldier going down T-Mac as well there. And 2nuts is now just alone, and Epsilon hugely on the front foot right now. Got the 2 frags on 2 crucial classes there, and Scout of Tweak just gets the frag onto Shocky on the flank, and they now have to deal with him behind, and that's going to bring them back a little bit and delay the push onto Spire at least. So good work from him. He's just saved his team a lot of time, and I think Brago is going to be ready to spawn now to try and defend Spire, and I think Zaibatsu will attempt to defend this.
Yeah, Zaibatsu's going to have a little bit of a go here. There's a crit streak versus an almost Uber ready, and actually no. It looks like 2nuts and the rest of Zaibatsu have just said, okay, you know what, screw it, let's give it up. And I can imagine, and this is my brain thinking, if Epsilon, as soon as they crits, there's going to be 5 people from Zaibatsu piling in onto their faces, seeing if they can get the frags done. That is my idea of what Zaibatsu is going to try to do. We see Ip standing so far forward. I think that's going to be their game plan.
Yeah, of course, that's like the standard approach, but they tried it last time and Epsilon were just too fast for them. They backed out nice and quick, so the crits is going to come in from main again. In fact, as you say, the Uber just comes out without the crits needing to be popped, so they tried to second guess them and use the crits early, use the Uber early, but it just meant that the crits is now available for them to push into last, and they have actually used it. A bit of a weird situation for me, in my opinion. I think maybe Nox thought the Uber was going to run out a little bit earlier than it did. Numlock's actually getting taken down by Brago now in the main, and it's just going to trigger their fallout, I think, Epsilon. I don't think they're going to look to push this anymore.
Yeah, it looks like Zaibatsu is going to try and make their way through, though, as we can see everyone putting some pressure down. It looks like they got the pick up to Mike, though. I'm curious. Let's have a little bit of a hear at what Epsilon is doing so far for this defense.
Oh,
Flash for the backup.
Main.
They're pushing out now.
Advance,
120.
We actually have a pause.
Scratch that. We have a pause. I saw the pause coming out and I was like, it's going to screw up the comms. Well, it's going to screw up the comms for us a little bit. But you can hear very clearly, right? They were talking about the push that's about to happen. Gear called it early. They're prepared. But Epsilon, obviously, without Mike here, is going to try and have to hold on. 5 versus 6. Again, there's a little window, though. Because I like Nox still on that crit streak. And the Uber at about 55% is even with the Uber from 2nuts. That means they have about a 5-second window if they build it up fast. And again, that crit streak play that Epsilon is showing so far, working out to some extent, but Zaibatsu's holding on.
Yeah, they're just, you look at their position at the moment, I don't know what they're going to aim to achieve here. They're looking to push out onto Spire, but what do they have right now? You got Bash up above this main door. So if Brago and Two Nuts come out of this main door alone, they're going to take the sticky from Numlocked, which you can already see coming towards them, and Bash is going to be in their face. It just doesn't look like a good situation for them at all. He's going to drop straight down to them, and I can only see Two Nuts and Brago losing that fight. Looks like T-Mac's going to the left balcony, so he's going to be opting to either bomb aggressive onto the medic or go straight up onto the point. But I can't see the scouts for Zaibatsu. That's the crucial thing. Are they still back on the last point? I actually don't know where they are. There's one Samsy's in main, but Tweak I can't see. Where is he? Oh, he's actually on the resub. So he's ready. They're sort of ready to push out, but I don't think they're in a good enough position to do this. With the crit streak up shortly on Epsilon, of course, I think trying to commit to this will be a little bit foolhardy, and I just don't think they have the positions right to do this. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it could go well for them, but I think if it does, it's going to be luck more than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be curious to see, because in all honesty, it seems like Zaibatsu, the last time they did this, it was very clear. Epsilon had crit streak. They were building it very, very fast, and they decided, you know what, let's push out, because they'll have an advantage if we just sit on last. So let's put some pressure down. It seems like that's the reasoning behind it once again, Spin, and it's flawless reasoning, right? That's kind of the way it is. There's nothing we can do about that, but that's just the way it is. And we can see right now that as the game is being unpaused, it looks like Zaibatsu's going to put the pressure down. Tavik is pretty much going to get fragged onto balcony, though. He's 1 HP, got to stay alive, and he's actually going to manage to be perfectly fine, as right now Epsilon manages to get 1 frag in, 2 frags in. It looks like with Bash going down, it is going to be a 5 versus 4 coming into last here. His crit streak is almost ready to rock and roll. Here we go. Gets 1, gets 2. Numlock manages to get up the picks, and I don't think Zaibatsu's near enough to the point, as it now caps off, ladies and gentlemen, 2-0 here for Epsilon eSports.
It kind of went the way I expected. Bash didn't actually drop down to the medic. He tried to go behind, and he managed to get behind without getting a frag, but on weak HP. So he directed a little bit of the focus towards him, and Brago got taken down by the stickies of Numlocked in the end, which pretty much sealed the deal for Epsilon, able to push on to the last.
Fair well played by Epsilon so far. So again, say whatever you want, but Zaibatsu hasn't picked up a single round yet throughout this entire game. It very much seems very one-sided if you see the score, but Zaibatsu, they're holding on. They're doing very well at the moment, but Epsilon eSports just seemed a little bit too strong. And the team that has won every single game online since June 19th, 2012, over a year ago already, ladies and gentlemen, seems to be picking up this 3rd medal in a row now here on CP Battlelines.
Yeah, Mike with a fantastic airshot there. I don't know if you caught that on the
I saw it, yeah.
It's a massive airshot to completely deny T-Mac on the bomb. I think it was T-Mac at least on the bomb. And yeah, the frags are just coming out thick and thin. So, yep, Epsilon doing well. They did kill the medic as well, of course. So, yeah, this was where the pause was. So I don't know whether that was the reason for such a weak middle, because we haven't seen him won so far. Zaibatsu's been pretty even on the middles, and perhaps that's the reasoning for that. But yeah, I mean, regardless, Epsilon are now pushing last, and Zaibatsu are definitely filled with a new disadvantage.
Yeah, Zaibatsu's going to have to try and build this one off. 35% only onto 2 Nuts, and Nox is already ready to rock and roll here. They're going to try and use that Pyro once again, but the Uber already comes out, and really, Epsilon eSports doesn't mess this up. Ever, ever, ever. They don't do it. They manage to make it work, push their way through, and as the point now gets capped, ladies and gentlemen, the 3-0 gets put on the board.
I wouldn't mind hearing the comms from CC for this middle, because I think they're going to be under a lot of pressure now. I'd like to see how they're going to try and deal with this.
It's not easy to follow him, okay?
Try.
Yeah. Follow focus, please, yeah?
Damn, took sticky on house.
They're playing the demo down.
Nice,
Oh my
good.
god.
So you're train, yeah. Then I also maybe care.
Nice.
I will shoot house.
Oh shit,
He's so weak, Sally. Go up.
Just push. Keep pushing,
Keep
Mike,
pushing,
I'm
come on.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm capping, keep pushing.
Step is fast.
Just go.
They figured it out, Spin. I think Zaibatsu's dead. I think there's absolutely no way they're going to be able to stay alive against just the onslaught of what Epsilon is doing at the moment.
Yeah, this is what we've seen in officials forever. Epsilon is just, they know how to turn up a gear, like every time... turn up a gear. Every time...
it was funny 15 seconds ago.
every time it's a big official, they always step it up, and you know, you can see it here. They've just got into their groove now, and CC just... Zaibatsu, sorry. just don't have, you know, they don't seem to have what it takes to just throw them off their game, and it's what Mike said in an interview a little while back for us. CC... God's sake.
You're going to mess this up 100 times.
Trying to enforce them to play this defensive playstyle, and it's just, you know, they've decided not to do it, and it's pretty much they're playing the game they want to play, and You can just see it. There's not really a lot to cast there. Epsilon just smashing them all the way to last, and it's just almost a pub game now.
It's becoming routine, isn't it, for them? Like, you can see very clearly, like, I'm going to go top view right now onto the middles. I think the coordination from Epsilon is absolutely spot on, and really Zaibatsu, what they're going to do is they're going to come from bottom this time around, from that valley side, seeing if they make something... seeing if they can make something happen. You see Numlocked and everyone else making their way through Shithouse. They switch sides, and now comes the fight. And this is something where Zaibatsu might have a good show, as it's going to be a 6 versus 4 to now spin. I like the way they played this, but again, 2nuts gets assassinated by Bash, and I think they're not going to mind this exchange. They're going to keep Nox alive, and with the 4-0 lead that they have at the moment, Zaibatsu, yeah, sure, they can pick up the middle, but that is pretty much it.
Yeah, Ib's just trying to like roam for the medic there, and it's unlucky. Mike like hunts him down around Spire. He's only on 13 HP, but he manages to find the kill. And yeah, Tweaked and chasing the medic down as well. They know they need to get the medic kill to try and make this happen, but yeah, it didn't happen for them. But you know, there's still 16 minutes left, and as I said in the warm-up game we played, they were 4-0 down against us and managed to bring it back to 4-4. So it's not over just yet. They could still bring this back. They they do have the character in the team to keep this working, and you know. It's possible, but it's you know, they're definitely under pressure now, and you know, I'd like to see if they can actually bring it back from there.
Let's see if they can actually do this one, as Epsilon is going to make their way through. It's 100% versus 50% at the moment. It looks like Nox is going to be able to force off here. Very well played to T-Mac for getting that one done. Mike gets the pick onto him though, so his life did end a little bit shortly, and they're going to drop back and run to last as fast as they can. There's crit streak on 2nuts, but in all honesty, how much is it going to matter? Look at how fast Epsilon is. They're going to make their way in. They're going to see if they can get the picks done. Gear gets taken down. Epsilon, ladies and gentlemen, is going to make their way through. Shocky caps it off. And the 5-0 comes out, and Zaibatsu getting mauled here, ladies and gentlemen. There's really no other way to say this. As they prepared, they worked their way towards this official for hours, for weeks, for days, and really, in all honesty, Epsilon showing why they're the #1 team in Europe and why they are forced to be reckoned with by anyone on the planet. The amount of perfection that I can see throughout this game is pretty much fantastic right there, as Epsilon's going to pick this one up without even letting a round go the other way. Crack Clan, aka Zaibatsu, is going to lose out here against Epsilon eSports, and that's going to put Epsilon eSports in the grand final, ladies and gentlemen, of ETF2L Season 15, powered by Blackout Gaming. After 6 weeks and seven hard weeks of fighting, Epsilon got the perfect score of 14 map wins and 0 map losses, ladies and gentlemen. I think the most round losses they've had was against Broder. That's 5-4 on Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question is, after this, can Zaibatsu pick themselves up, or they're going to have a lot of troubles after this one?
Well, they're going to play Broder, I think, next week, so that's going to pretty much decide. Well, it will decide the final seedings. So, I mean, while it could have gone, it could have gone the way of Zaibatsu this game. The fact that that's happened is actually going to make the next game way more exciting. There's a lot more on the line for both teams that way, and yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It was a really sort of anticlimactic ending. Of course, Shocky just walking onto the point, takes the cap, and it's unfortunate. Zaibatsu, I think, could have put up a better fight. We saw when we went to their team comms on Viaduct that they had the metal to take it to Epsilon, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. Epsilon just keeping their cool, bringing their A game, and they showed us why they're the best in Europe.
Very well played by Epsilon eSports. They picked this one up, 5-0, 3-0 on Battlelands of Viaduct, ladies and gentlemen. Zaibatsu is going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out before their match against Broder next week. Obviously, after a little bit of a quick break, we're going to have the interviews. I see Ips not here in the chat, but I see Bash with me in chat. So we're going to speak to Bash. Actually, Bash obviously is not from Zaibatsu whatsoever. I think Zaibatsu is just going to say, you know what, screw these interviews. I don't want to hear anyone at the moment, as Mr. Numlocked has managed to make his way through the channel, and Bash is here as well. So we're going to talk to a couple of people from Epsilon eSports. We'll see if anyone from Zaibatsu wants to answer some questions, or if they're going to decide, you know what, screw it. We're all too mad and too pissed off. We're going to go to bed and see how it goes tomorrow morning. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and we'll be right back with some interviews here with Epsilon eSports and Zaibatsu.